first, before we start off, I've been meaning to do this for a while, is to just acknowledge the paid Substack subscribers, give them a thank you, because their contribution means a lot. Andrew Gibbons, he's a musician, really cool guy. Frank Newcomb, who is my brother, so I appreciate that. Colton Dutiel, also a musician, creative guy, really nice guy. Colton is like a Comics Odyssey super fan. I put Spirit Girl 3 up for sale, and I hadn't made an announcement for it yet. It just went up for sale on my coffee store, and he bought it. Like, like it took like a couple minutes.
Yeah,
So
right on.
yeah, that's great. And Tester Fivus is a Substack subscriber, the most recent one. So much appreciated for their patronage. So let's get this party started. Hi, I'm Ulysses,
And I'm James.
and this is Comics Odyssey. And today we're looking at a classic Steve Ditko comic from 1968. Shortly after he had one of it, I believe this is one of the first independent full-length Ditko works on the question. So we're gonna look at that. So um, we've done a few things on the question here. I've introduced James to the question via the Denny O'Neil, Dennis Cowan, but it is a creation of Steve Ditko, and it is his creation at Charlton Comics. I say independent, but I mean away from Marvel. So he was working for Charlton Comics, and Charlton Comics did end up owning the question. So it is, but they did let Ditko create kind of unbridled. He wasn't under Stanley's shadow, if you will.
And
Um,
DC bought the character from the publisher.
yeah, so Charlton folded and DC ended up buying it. And that was around the time of Watchmen. It happened a little bit before Watchmen. Crisis on Infinite Earths uh, did kind of introduce the Charlton characters to the DC universe. So that it was,
Oh, cool.
yeah, it was in that era. And when Alan Moore pitched Watchmen to DC, he wanted to do it with the Charlton characters, who were, among others, were The Question and Blue Beetle, who eventually became the most popular Charlton acquisitions. But DC had other plans for them, which did they? I mean,
Yeah.
it didn't really. They eventually did quite a bit with Blue Beetle and The Question, but the rest, I think, they pretty much all lost to the sands of time. But yeah, so we get to see Steve Ditko's unadulterated vision here in this issue. We both read it, and we both agree it's a bit of a slog to read. Isn't that right, James?
I'm sure make a pretty good film noir movie or something. They were really trying to be exploring the limits of storytelling in comic books.
Yeah. Um, it's. I mean, I thought it was interesting to read this because it's. I feel Stanley has gotten a bit of a bad rap for, the legal fallout that happened between him and Ditko and him and Kirby. There's tension, and he became Stanley kind of became a mascot for Marvel. So in pop cultural consciousness, he became the creator of all those characters, Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, and all that. And I think there was, some frustration on the part of the artists who did, the lion's share of the character design and drawing the stories. But we see here the how important Stanley really was to those early Marvel stories, because without Lee, Um, I, it doesn't click like when Ditko does it on his own here, I find.
Doesn't have the sort of manic excitement that Stanley brings. The pace and the flow. It's very slow, this issue.
The melodrama.
Yeah.
This is an interesting ad. I mean, $595 for a 1966 Dodge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you like the look of these cars? This was kind of the era, kind of heading into the land yacht era of car design.
I'm not a huge car guy, but if I have opinions, it's sort of like how I watch the NHL. It's not because I have favorite teams, but I dislike Toronto. But if I'm watching hockey, it's just to watch the Toronto Maple Leafs lose.
Right, fair enough.
Yeah, if I don't have a lot of favorite vehicles, I like the old 1960 trucks, 1950s,
Mm-hmm.
and a couple of the Corvettes, but mostly I just really dislike modern cars, Tesla in particular. Those Cybertruck things are aesthetically hideous.
They strike a figure, that's for sure.
Oh, I wish something would strike their figure.
Yeah, I'm not a big car guy either, but it does remind me of, my uncles and my brother's cars growing up. They drove these sorts of cars. So the story is basically
Sorry, just to go back for a second, that first page is incredible. I think probably the best, most striking page of the entire comic book.
it's a great page. There's a couple of other pages I'll point out when we get to them that I think are great too. Yeah, it's cool. It's a little bit psychedelic.
Yeah.
For some reason, Steve had a psychedelic side, even though he never partook. Yeah, the story more or less is about this character, Vic Sage, whose alter ego is the Question, being right about everything.
Yeah.
The idea is that he's a reporter at this broadcasting company, and his higher ups are corrupt, and he isn't. And he's in the Question alter ego. He's discovered this, and they're all scheming against him, and he will not. This is a really good panel to express the whole vibe of this character. This rigid character who will not yield in his principles whatsoever, regardless of anything, really.
Yeah. And you mentioned before it shows in the drawings of his posture, like the one right the middle to the far right on the second page.
This one.
He looks like he could be sleepwalking almost. The body language.
Yeah, exactly.
Like he has great posture, but in a way that's completely uncommittal. He's not relaxed or comfortable in any of the pages. It doesn't look like.
And he's kind of an unlikable character. The only reason he's like abrasive and blunt and rude, and he has no tact, right? I recently read that tact is the art of making a point without embarrassing someone. He doesn't have that.
No, he doesn't.
Like, this is a good expression of like the whole idea of this character. Like, everyone's against him, right? And he's like, well, too bad. Like, I'm right, and that's it.
Yeah.
I have a hard time relating to people who think they're right about everything, and I have a hard time with fictional characters like that too.
It reminds me of Ayn Rand's Fountainhead. The protagonist is a character named Howard Rourke. I'm reading the book right now, and it's a lot like Vic Sage.
Well, rumor has it that Ditko was an avowed Randian.
Oh, really?
I don't know if it's true, but that's definitely the what people say. The lettering here stands apart from the lettering of the day, and you see it's not hand lettered. It is hand lettered, but it looks like typed almost. It's a machine now. The name escapes me, but it's a machine that sits over top the page, and you carve out. It has like the template for each letter, the A and the B and the C, and you basically you the way it's the mechanism that moves around so that it lines up. So when you want to do an A, you line it up there, and you trace the A in the template, and the pen on an arm comes down and draws the A there. And then you got to reline it up with a G and an A. And it was more time consuming, but it was considered more professional because it didn't have that hand lettered look, right?
Yeah.
So this was like a bit more of a prestige looking thing of the day in the culture of comics of the day. But it's funny now, we are kind of drawn towards a more hand lettered look. If it's too professional and too consistent, it looks off. Like in a way, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's a lot of indie comic books out there that use, you can tell it was typed in by a computer. And I couldn't say why, but there's something that it just seems unnatural. Like it works if the character is an android or robotic or something, like maybe Arnold Schwarzenegger, like a comic book about the Terminator or something. But for the human people, for some reason, it just, man, it's hard to read that comic book.
Well, I have an idea why, because I looked into it. Lettering, I obsessed about it for a long time, and I went back and forth on Spirit Girl how I would letter it, and it seems a topic of discussion that I can't find a lot of people to talk about with, but I finally relented and decided to do digital lettering, and I finally found a company that has comic dialogue fonts with what's called contextual alternates.
Oh,
Uh,
interesting.
Bla- yeah, blambot.com. So if they have designed fonts that you can type in, but each letter has maybe 3 or 4 variants. So
Yeah,
they've
cool.
designed each one. So when the letter recurs multiple times within a word, it'll switch to the alternates so it doesn't have that super
Yeah,
consistent look. It'll so the letter the font has a little bit more of a hand drawn look to it. So Spirit Girl 4 will be using that type of font. Spirit Girl 3 is using it doesn't have contextual alternates, but the look of it had the right look for that fantasy setting. But Spirit Girl 4 will use contextual alternate fonts. But it's what's weird is that they do sell that, and it's not expensive. But I look at the big Kahuna books, and they don't use that. I don't get it. It's just one click. You just open the setting contextual alternates, and I don't know why they don't use that.
I suspect strongly that the people running Marvel and DC don't care about comic book characters anymore. It's like a business. I remember reading, this is way off topic. Um, somebody, there had been a point where the DC was going through editors frequently to such an extent that somebody found out that there was an intern editing the book who'd never read comic books before. And there you got people who've been drawing or writing in comic books, the industry, for like 15 or 20 years. And they're answering to, you know, I don't know, Ashley, 22, with a master's degree in sociology or something like that.
Hmm.
Just some strange stuff.
Could be.
Business model strange. The administrative business model of it, of the two, is strange as shit. And I also just
Well,
read today that there's an artist who was big. He was getting $200 a page over at Mad Magazine, but he wanted to draw comic books, so he jumped over to Marvel. And just to do the pencils and the inks, he made $45 per issue. Sorry, per page.
It's crazy that they've got properties that are worth billions of dollars, and the artists are getting paid $45.
Yeah, yeah, it's nuts.
This single page story, I don't know if you read this one. It's basically about it's a sci-fi story about a guy who's captured by aliens, and the the Earthlings win in the end. It's nothing special. There is a 20 there's a home study program for karate, jiu-jitsu, judo, boxing, and savate. See, again, here you see the vibe of the whole thing. What makes a hero? This is like an essay almost in comic form. If you look through my Substack or my YouTube channel, you'll find my solo review of Mr. A, which is Steve Ditko's take on the question, like just to its apex. Like he was completely independent, and it is just bananas. It is wild, and you got to respect the artwork. I love how he always fits all his characters in each panel, and that's with like some room to spare, or it always kind of looks correct, which is like an underappreciated art form. It's actually tough to do.
Especially if you're putting 9 panels per page in on average.
Mm-hmm. And everything's legible and all that. Like this is very clear. But
This is where it started to slow down for me. I got about, I don't know, maybe halfway or 2/3 through before I kind of just started flipping through pages. And part of it was that at least half the panels, there's more word bubbles. There's more space devoted to text than there is to drawings.
yeah, there's a few schools of thought on that. There's some readers that prefer that because they feel they're getting their money's worth. It's taking
Yeah.
like it's so I paid this much, so I want to be spending time. Of course, like it's what is said, and if it's moving the plot along and stuff. Of course, that matters, but some people are kind of drawn to that. Personally, I like a little bit more spare on the word balloon front. But yeah, there's a lot going on here, word wise. It's the now defunct martial art of Ketsugo, the unbeatable art of unarmed self-defense. I guess it got beat because it's not around anymore.
Right.
These are all the foundational aspects of the character, superhero gimmick wise. A mask that adheres to his face so that it looks like it's just skin, so that it looks like he has no face. Releases a gas from the belt buckle, which changes his clothing color. Goes from the green suit to the blue suit.
Any kind of gas that could do that to your clothes. If you inhaled that, you like no wonder he's such a freak.
It is explored in the Denny O'Neil. There's a whole psychedelic thing. I guess the chemicals weren't properly balanced, and he has a psychedelic trip in the O'Neil series, which is fun.
Nice.
Anyway, he goes to investigate these corrupt executives, which I'm sure are somewhat proxy for the people that Ditko feels he got shafted by. For a character called The Question, he sure has all the answers. But what's interesting is when he dons the costume, like he no longer has this rigid posture, right? He now looks a little bit more dynamic, so it's almost like it changes his personality, right?
I hadn't noticed. That's a good observation.
And it seems deliberate. So it seems like Ditko kind of was trying to make a statement on the character's personality. So when he dons the costume, um, like it's not so rigid. He can let loose a bit. It's great draftsmanship. I mean, it's expertly drawn. Each character has his own, facial characteristics. Like I was looking at Ivan Reyes' pencils, and they're awesome superhero pencils. But a lot of his characters look the same in the face. Like they, for
Yeah,
expediency, they have like this shorthand.
I find the same with Ed McGuinness, who I'm a huge fan of, and Ron John Romita Jr. And it's funny, the deeper into his career, he's sort of going the same path as Frank Miller, in that John Romita Jr. is sort of drawing the fastest, most economic, professional style possible. But his earlier work, I find, has better character designs. Wolverine looks more separate from Cyclops, but as he gets deeper in his career, he seems to pay less attention to that. I'll just make sure you get the idea overall.
Do you want to get astronaut tough, James?
No thanks. I'm
Won't
not buying
cost you a
anything.
cent. What is it? Inside and out, double quick time, or it won't cost you a cent. So that's Mysterious Suspense. This is my beater copy. I do have a high grade copy of this. I don't know if it's what it's worth now, but I like the question, and I found a good deal, so I got it. And this is the copy I use to look through. I mean, this is definitely something, like, I'll probably leave this open, and tomorrow morning I'll just start drawing in my sketchbook and try to draw like Ditko, like especially the faces. I find
Yeah,
it's really good.
right there. The center panel, you can see Vic Sage has a completely different expression to to the next page. There's sort of a weasel-looking guy in the middle, to the far left.
It's beautiful.
And right
It's
back
great.
There's another face that's completely like authentic and unique.
Yeah, here. No.
It's not easy.
Yeah, this is very difficult. This is expert level. Mysterious Suspense. Just for giggles, do you want to give this an out of 10 rating? I don't know if that's appropriate on a Steve Ditko, legendary Steve Ditko book.
Yeah, I don't know how to do that. I'd have to split it up. Maybe out of 30 or something, and give the art one and the story one, maybe out of 20 or something. It'd be too, I don't know if I can do that.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Steve
Ditko.
Parts of it that I was really impressed with, but that I couldn't finish the comic book in a straightforward fashion. Loses many points. Just as a storytelling for entertainment's sake. It's better for me as a guide on how to draw something well.
Yeah.
And how to format something well, and as a lesson, and also maybe don't put too much dialogue in, kind of thing. But if I was a kid reading this, I probably wouldn't read it twice until I turned my 30s. I hit my 30s or 40s,
Well, I do remember reading this the whole way through once, and I don't remember much of the story. But there's little flourishes here, like these little boxes. He fills it up with artwork.
Yeah, it's nice.
These are, this shows care. Yeah, and I don't have any other Steve Ditko. I'd love to, and I haven't read his work on Spider-Man. I'd love to read that at some point if I can find a good collected edition. I had another point to make here, but I know that there's a guy on Substack who feels that Ditko's The Question is superior to O'Neill's, and he's got a great Substack, and I have had a discussion with him about this. It goes by Man of the Atom, and hopefully he sees this one and maybe he makes a comment in defense so that maybe we get another perspective on this.
Yeah.
Mysterious Suspense, 1968, Steve Ditko. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate your attention, and I'll see you in the next one.
See you later.